welcome everyone. I think we have about 40 people already on the call. So my name is Amit Saha, and with me is Ishika Sesodia. She looks after EPR from the client side, all the business development and EPR registrations. So she's from CEPET, Lucknow. She understands plastics technology. She has come in. She's graduated from last year of CEPET, and together we will take this webinar with help of Ishka, and there are other members also in the group right now from Pro India. I'll introduce you subsequently. However, I just wanted to check my screen, and I wanted to share something with you that has been useful for other people also, and we've seen a lot of views of our past webinars. So I'm just going to show you that where to find the same. Just give me 1 minute. So this is our channel where you will find a lot of material, a full repository of material. All our webinars, past webinars, are here already. And one thing that I wanted to quickly show you was, in case you are just new entrant in the EPR scene as a brand owner, or even as a plastic waste producer, or plastic waste processor. Sorry, not producer, processor. There have been several webinars that have been done in the past, which can be of great use to you. One of them, for example, is how does it apply to a plastic waste producer? So that is here in front of you. And then a little bit on understanding of EPR. If you want to have a very basic understanding of EPR, that is also available from our team. And then the one which has got very significant views is this one, which I wanted to give you this link, so that we will not cover it in this detail today, but it will be useful for you or your team, anyone who would like to understand it a bit more. So this has a lot of question answers on the FAQs of the past. It also covers in great details the entire plastic waste rule and the nuances of the same, and then also takes you through the screen by screen entry of how to register, and then also how to execute EPR. Even today's presentation is getting recorded, so it will be available to you in a day's time, or maybe 2 days time, so you can have a look at that as well. But I just wanted to share with you that we have created all these repositories and left it on our website. It's freely accessible on the Pro India channel, and I'll request Ishika to put it, the channel's extension and this particular one's extension on the chat box, so that you can also have a look later on. We will not be able to cover it, as I said that we had a whole lot of questions. We will not be able to cover all of them today, and I think that it is also not required, because as companies, you have already matured, and one financial year also has passed. So many of the questions you must have already overcome those questions, solved those questions, and managed your way forward. So therefore I'm not suggesting that we have a very big deep dive, but we definitely would like to have a good time today to understand and solve problems of today, which is largely around how to close the last year, and how to make sure that you don't have any penalties, or you don't have any issues with respect to the last year. And there are several such questions like that. I would also request you to instead of raising hands, I can see some people raising hands. Instead of raising hands, I'll really request you to use the chat box. I think it is here somewhere. Without further ado, I would request Ishka, if you could share a little bit about a generic background on plastic waste rules for the new people. Yes, because there are about 50 odd people, and I can see several of them are new. Some of them, and all of them are registered either as a brand owner or a plastic waste producer. Some cement companies have also joined. So I'm going to project my screen for that presentation, and maybe Ishika could take that thing from there. So yes, just allow me 1 minute. Just allow me 1 minute to share that screen.
Okay, so I guess screen is visible to all. So very good morning, everyone. My name is Ishika Sesodia. I'm from Pro India, and today I'll be taking you along simple basics about the EPR. I know like most of you might already be aware about it, but still for the people who are new, who wants some clarifications also, we'll just go with the basics. That will not take much of a time, just few minutes, and we'll be good to go with your questions. So this is the presentation, if you can see, and here we will be covering these topics, all of the like why EPR is important, what is EPR, the guidelines, the process, like how you should proceed further, the compliance, and one of the basics, one of the most important uh, topics these days, that is the EC, or the environmental compensation. So we'll be covering with that. So first of all, the most important thing, like before moving any further, we need to understand like why EPR is important. So as everyone might be aware that we're using plastics from 1950s. The plastic was invented in 1950s, and since then we are using it as it has many beneficial uses. The problem arose when when the production of the plastic was so vast, so massive, that we were not able to just manage the plastic waste we are producing. So talking about today, we are producing around 400 million tons of plastics every year. And the problem is that we are not able to manage the plastic waste properly, because out of that plastic waste that we are generating, only 14% is incinerated and only 14% is collected for the recycling. Apart from that, 60 to 70% is still into the environment. If I talk about the water bodies only, there are a lot of plastics in the oceans. As you can see in this, there, like, these are the most polluting countries of India, like of the world. Okay, and India is on the second of this. And if, like, at this rate, if the plastic pollution, plastic waste keeps on growing, then by 2050 we will be generating around 1100 million tons of plastics, and by then the fishes in the oceans will be less than the plastic in the ocean. So considering all of this, the government came up with EPR for plastics. And like, what is EPR? EPR is extended producers responsibility. It is basically a polluters pay principle. Okay, it is not the responsibility which is like in your boundaries. It is the responsibility which you step out of the boundaries, like out of your factories and everything. It is the responsibility that you have to cover when you are sending your materials out into the environment. When you're polluting it, it is a post consumer responsibility. So under the EPR, liability fall onto these EPR is the liability fell onto producers, importers, recyclers, and everyone who are sending their plastic waste into the environment. And their liability is to take care and treat the plastic waste that they're sending into the environment. Okay, now if I talk about like what categories of plastics fall onto this category. So there are basically four categories of plastics fall into this. First one is the rigid. For example, bottles, caps, everything which can stand on its own base, that is a rigid category. Then we have the flexible category, which is like single layer polythene bags and everything like that is flexible plastic. Then we have multi-layer plastics. Multi-layer plastic is there when we have different types of layer in a packaging, and one of the layer is plastic, then it is the multi-layer plastic. And last we have the compostable plastic. Compostable plastic we do not have to take care much of because it is self-decomposable. Okay, now some of the important parts of these EPR is CPCB, SPCB, and PWB. CPCB is everyone aware of. I know that everyone knows what CPCB is, but we can't ignore SPCB because it is also a very crucial part in EPR. Okay, if I talk about SPCB, every factory which is like not running all over India and everything, all of the responsibility of that industry, of that factory, falls onto SPCB. Okay, they take care of your state level responsibilities, and they take care of your state level plastic waste management. And we have PWPs, which basically means processors, energy plants, recyclers. Everyone falls into PWPs, which take care of the plastic waste for the brands. Now we have PIBOs, which means producers, importers, brand owners. So basically, the EPR rule came for these because PIBOs are the most liable to collect their plastic waste, plastic pollution that they are creating, because every brand, everyone is sending their products into some kind of packaging into the environment. And when we are sending some kind of plastic waste into the environment, it is our responsibility to take care of the plastic waste that we are creating. Okay, so for all of this, CPCB came up with few guidelines that how we will take the EPR rule came into 2016, but these guidelines came in 2022. Okay, and according to these guidelines, the basic part is the 4 R's. We call it the 4 R's of EPR. The 4 R's of EPR is basically the recover, reuse, recycle, and PCR. When I talk about, I'll just give you a quick brief about all of this. So when I say recover, it is basically whatever plastic waste you're sending into the environment, it is your responsibility to recover all of that plastic waste from the environment and take it back, so that you can either reuse it, recycle it, or you can take care of the end of that life. So starting from 2021, we have the recover, and then we have reuse. Reuse is basically for the rigid category, which is bottles and everything. So here, if you can see in this chart, there is also given like what sort of volume you have to reuse from when, starting from when, and reuse is starting by 2025. Similarly, if I talk about recycle, recycle is also starting from 2025, because we are not at that stage right now that we can recycle products. So government has given us this time, and we can start with the recycling by 2025. And when I say recycle, it doesn't mean that you have to recycle 100% of your pollution that you're creating or your waste that you're creating. It is just given category wise, like 50%, 30%, and sort of that. So remaining remaining amount you can still incinerate, or you can still send for a PCR. And PCR and recycle is somewhat correlated, because definitely when I say that we have to recycle, PCR is also some sort of recycling in which we take care of the end of life, and it is starting from 2025. So these are the 4 R's of the EPR. I know all of you might already be aware, right? Now, now we come with EPR registration. Okay, so EPR registration is basically taken care in two parts. First is the pre-registration, and second is the post-registration. In the pre-registration, we will be like registering for some of we will be registering on the on your, like, brands will be registering for themselves. In that, we will be requiring some of the important details like company name, company trade name, address, postal address, pin, and like what type of a company it is, MSME certificates, authorized person details, sales and procurement details. All of this is taken care in the pre-registration part. And if I talk about the post-registration part, it is everything which is all of the operations which are carried out after the registration is done, in which we also include the real-time information of procurement and sales data. Apart from that, compliance part also comes on into the uh, post-registration part. And I'll also take you to compliance part, which is definitely a very important thing. In this, what happens is that recyclers or energy plants and everyone do this part, like the compliance part. Okay, here what happens is that recyclers, energy plants, and everyone do this on the behalf of brand owners, in which they like put their details as well, like how much plastic they have reused, how much plastic have they so they have they recycled. So what happens is when they get the credits for the same, they transfer the credits. So this is all of the compliance part. And if I talk about now, what the most important part comes in, which is EC, which means environmental compensation. So if I talk about EC, what is EC? It is basically an environmental compensation which you have to give to the government if you fail to do, or if you fail to manage the plastic waste, which according to the guidelines which is given by this Central Pollution Control Board, or the CPCB. Okay, so here we have also attached this document from the CPCB document which they have given. And here, if you can see, it is clearly mentioned that if you fail to do the plastic waste management as per the guidelines, you will have to submit EC of 2.5 times. That means around 5,000 per ton of plastic waste. So, which is a big amount. And now I'll tell you, like, under what conditions, under what circumstances EC is applicable. Okay, there are many circumstances under which EC is applicable. We have a proper schedule for the same, which is given Schedule 2. But here I have like taken up few important or few common things which under which EC is levied on brand owners or PIBOs. So here, if you have not registered with CPCB at all, like as of now, then EC is definitely applicable to you. Okay, if you fall short in completing your EPR target, like if for example, if you have a target of 900 tons or 900 metric tons, and you fall short, you complete like 400, but remaining is left. So then in that case, EC is also levied on you. Okay, if any of the important updates, any of the details, procurement details or sales details which you have given is like, is if the information that you have given is not true, then then the EC is levied on you. And if you fail to file your annual returns on time, which is like 30th June, then EC is levied on you. Okay, if you doesn't complete your compliance part, then also EC is levied on you. And if you misreport like the quality or quantity of plastic which you are using and which you are sending into the environment, then also EC is levied to you. Like summarizing all of this, I have taken out some of the questions which might be your questions as well. And I would like Amit sir to please answer these questions for us so that we can get clarity. And apart from that, we also have many people have answered lot of questions, asked lot of questions here. So I would like Amit sir to please answer those as well. Amit sir, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I can. Would you like to finish up your presentation?
Yes, sir.
There are two more
Yes, sir.
slides to
Definitely. Yes, sir. Definitely. So before Amit sir answer these questions, I will also like to tell you that why you should choose Pro India. And actually, we're here to help you, and we're not here just for giving you the EPR certificate that you can get from anyone. Okay, but we are not just giving you the EPR certificate. We will be your partners throughout the process. Okay, we are basically giving you additional additional information, webinars and everything. Apart from that, you have a complete transparency, traceability, and you can, like, we are even there for you whenever on your slightest complaint. If you have anything, we'll be there to help you out, and you'll not feel that okay, we have left you in between the what do we say, in between the row. Okay, we'll be there from the start to the end. Apart from that, we're not just giving you EPR services. We are also giving you ESG and all other services. And we also have a cause. We also have a cause for that. Okay, we have also created our t-shirts from pet bottles, recycling pet bottles. We are also running awareness campaigns for the students, small students, so that they are aware like how they have to manage the plastic waste from this age as well, because it is very important. Apart from that, we will also help you with innovations. So that is all, and I guess Miss Amit sir will help you out with the questions that we were asking. So can you please take over from here?
Yeah, thanks, Ishika. Thanks for the nice presentation. So what I would request the team is to type in the questions. I have seen some of the questions already, and this will be the session where we'll talk about the questions and answers. However, let me also show you another place where you can find most of such information in case you do not know where to find the EC document. So the best way to find it is no, if you get to our website, proindia.net. So let me just quickly take you there. Yeah. So this is the website, and it is proindia.net. So I'm just going to type it here, proindia.net. This is just type in and you can get a lot of information. And I'm not going to take you through the entire website, but I'm going to share with you where to find key information. So in our offerings, you can see that these are our offerings, which is mentioned here. So, EPR, innovation development, and consulting, advocacy, franchising, and the impact, the cause that Ishka was talking about. So, if you look at the EPR side, now this is a topic of discussion for today. So, it does talk about what is EPR and what is the responsibility for POs and all that. This you can access through here also. Sorry, it's just clicking in. In the offerings, you can click it from there, and you will be taken through a sheet where it talks about how to what is the responsibility and how does the product flow happen. But it also talks about EC guidelines, the one which Ishka spoke about. So this is something which is now getting applicable, and it's something that you should be able to track and trace and figure this out. So just click, if you click that, you will be able to see the EC guideline directly. So it's here. So in the guideline, as Ishka mentioned, all of this information is there in terms of how is it applicable, when is it applicable, under what conditions, and how much the environmental compensation or penalty that can be. And as Ishka mentioned, that there are several conditions. Some of them she has already highlighted to you as to when this will get triggered. So it's important to understand this. You all understand plastic waste rules, I think, pretty reasonably, very well, and I think we have come a long way already. But this is an EC guideline since it is getting triggered now, so it's an important thing to understand. I've shown you where to find it, so you can simply get on to proindia.net and find that information directly. Okay, with that, I'm just going to quickly get on to the questions that I have seen. So I will start with some questions with, like, for example, a good old friend of mine, Mr. Santosh Verma. He is asking certain questions. Hi, Santosh. So he's saying that we have completed all our full year target of 2023. Now we proceed further for 2023 and 24, whatever. So how do we meet the target? There are some, the credits. We have got the credits on the e-wallet, but that's still taking time, and because the recyclers are not on board. So this is a very common question, and I think you must have noticed that there was a note from CPCB saying that to the SPCBs, and mentioning that quickly ROs should visit the recycling facilities. They had visited about 700 of them. They had still had to visit about 1200 more. I think there are about total of 1800 to 1900 recyclers, and since that is still to happen, they had given time to recyclers to finish their last year's uploading of the certificates and generating credit by this month end, which means that by April end this should have happened. So I'm not too sure whether no the everybody is in line with that. I mean, those DOs and ROs are actually getting to that stage, but the fact is that still about maybe 40 to 50% of site visits have not happened, and about 25% of the site visits have happened, and they have yet to open the portal. There have been questions and answers which are going on from both the sides, whether it is a cement plant or it's a recycler. So since recycler in that case is not able to generate the wallet credit, uh, you have your recycler's confirmation that he will do it, but it's actually not done on the system. So CPCB has given time to PIBOs up to 30th of June to close the financial year. So I think till that time, so we have April, May, and June. So we have a quarter right now to manage our compliances. Although I'm not 100% certain that why is that recyclers have been given only 1 month to close the financial year, and brand owners have been given 3 months for the same. And I'm also not 100% certain that CPCB will honor your financial year closing on the 30th, and recyclers closing on this 30th of April. Having said that, since there are so many issues, I am only hopeful that brand owners will be able to get their credits in time, and they'll be able to close the year in time. So that's a very overall answer to this, and I'm sure there'll be many more questions around the year end from the team, and I look forward to that. So there is another question which has been asked. So another friend of mine, Mr. Vinay Henry, has asked certain questions in terms of. Let me just quickly get to that. I'm missing it. Vinay. Yeah. So it is not for all type of plastic products. It's specifically for plastic packaging. I hope you understand it. I hope my understanding is correct. Now, I think that Vinay, if you could just type in your questions, because half the question I can understand and half the question is not there. Okay, there is a question from Mr. Pronab Nandi, which says, is it mandatory to take all the hard copies of EPR credit certificates from PWP? Again, this is a very interesting question, because up till so far, every brand has been generating hard copies, getting the hard copies from the recyclers, from the waste management agencies, from the ULBs, giving the proof of documents like DC, Chalan, e-way bill, picture, GPS coding, and so on and so forth, co-processing certificate, ULB authorizing that agency, then the ULB authorizing that much quantity of waste has been picked up from this particular municipality. I do not think that any of this is required going forward, because the credit is happening on the system, and the recyclers and the plastic waste producers are maintaining such information in terms of their source documentation as to where they source their plastic waste from, whether it is the category 3 and they have sources from bio landfill site, bio mining site, or it is from the Kawadiwala that they have sourced, let's say, category 1 material. They are maintaining the GST invoices of what they have paid, the bills of the source material. In case of recyclers, they don't have to declare the GST for buying, because they are buying it from maybe scrap dealers and others who may not have their own GST. But in case of cement plants, they have to even declare GST certificates to buy the material into the plant. Then the entire process of recycling is already approved, and it is approved by DO and the RO, and therefore the capacities are totally what you call cleared, and even the yields are hard coded. That means that you bring in 1 ton of material, maybe 900 kilos of that is getting into recycling. So you have conversion ratios which are already hard coded on the system, and then therefore finally you also are selling the, I mean, as a PWP, you are also selling the GST bill. Using GST bills, you are selling the resin or the final product out of your system. If it's a cement plant, you're selling the clinker and you're selling the cement. If it is a waste energy plant, then you're selling the waste, selling the energy. If it is a road making, then you're making that much roads. If you are making oil, plastics to oil, then you're making that much oil. If you're making dana or resin, you're making that much. So whatever you are transferring out to another customer, you have bills for that. You have hard copy. You have a GST bill for which you can upload on the system. So since there are so many checks and balances, these hard copies are therefore not required for brands to put together. So from our side, our recommendation is that brands can simply move into the this online portal system and not worry too much about the hard copies. By saying that, I also do want to mention that we continue to service brands who are looking for hard copies in addition to looking for certificates on the system, because no, the brands have certain requirements. They have reached a certain maturity. Their audit systems, audit portals, they have their internal audit teams. They go through certain records. They like to maintain certain records, books and copies of that. So I would suggest to the new brands that you don't have to worry about it. I would suggest to the existing brands who have been doing this to also transition. But no, if your internal audit team says you have to continue, please continue, and we will be happy to service you. So I think that is a long answer to a short question which has been asked by Praveen Nandi, Pranab Nandi. Then I have Mr. Pathak, who says, we are importer and brand owner. Our both application have been approved. We're waiting for the target. What is the next step in the waste management? So as soon as your target comes in, you'll have to start executing your target. That's what Ishka mentioned in the initial presentation, first few slides, that there's a pre-registration and there is a post-registration. So you have to execute that. Meanwhile, in our system, which is a great platform, if we have strong governance mechanism to avoid any duplication. Okay, so there has been a lot of discussion around duplication, and I think that no, this particular system, CPCB portal, I think addresses that, because it not only is generating credit at one place and distributing it online rather than offline, where you can, the chances of duplication is very high. It also will probably put together all of this information in some kind of an artificial intelligence engine, a machine learning engine, which will pick up pictures, invoices, and check it against that recycler's invoices across the entire recycler's data. So if there are matches found that he has used the same invoice, similar numbers, and similar quantities, then it will flag off those recyclers. Having said that, there is also a very strong audit portal which is getting developed by CPCB, and they're going to look for auditors. They are going to hire auditors who will get enrolled with CPCB and execute the auditing of the recyclers and plastic waste producers in line with this rules. So wait for that. I think that day is not too far when that part of the portal will also open. Okay. Can you have highlight about invoice uploading on CPCB portal? Now, this is again very, very common question, and it's a painful one, because as a producer, especially as a producer, you have to include your invoice one by one. You have to upload your invoice. CPCB has given a file which you can template, which you can download and then upload your invoices in some kind of a zip file. But most of the time, it's not working. So this is a painful process for producers at this point in time. This is also a very painful process for the recyclers at this point in time, because they also have to do the same thing. For the brands, you don't have to upload invoices. For the brands, you have to brand owners. You have to just make sure that your plastic waste per state is mentioned, and you are executing in the line of that. Do we need a SPCB registration after getting CPCB registration? Absolutely not. This is a question which has been asked by Mr. Pathak. So your registration at once done with CPCB, automatically, if you are just at the state level, those plants will get that information directly. Those factories will get that information. You don't have to worry about it. We are importing 200-liter drums and registered as an importer. These drums are covered under consent of SPCB for hazardous waste. What is the liability of recycling? All the liability of a category 1 will apply. And the most important liability, I think this question is again asked by, I think, Mr. Ellen Rathore. But this question has been asked by Mr. Pathak or Rathore. But the answer is all liabilities of category 1 will apply. And on top of that, the requirements later, which is coming in 25 and 26 of PCR, will also apply. The requirement of 70% reuse of drums after washing, because you are using hazardous waste, so you'll have to wash it and then probably use it again for your own reuse. To the extent of 70% will apply. So I think they what CPCB and what MOEF wants is that they want to reuse the same package without destroying it, especially the category ones. So should we purchase credit or not right now? How will we know that credit is fair? Okay, so I think Mitesh Thakkar, I tried to explain you how the credit is generated. So I would say that it is fair, and I think there's an audit coming in also from CPCB. So we'll have to trust the system. I don't think we have any other option. Do we have to compliance for year 22-23 till June? I think it is 30th April, May, June. Yeah, correct. It is up to 30th of June. You're right. Would you please elaborate the term credits? Now, this is a very basic question, Mr. Rakesh Bhatt. The credit is what you generate as plastic credit, which is equal to 1 ton of that category of waste which has been converted into something useful. Either it has got into co-processing or anything else. But I should mention to you that if you want to understand a little bit more about the credit, about the plastic and plastic exchange and how does that function, I take a little bit pride on that, because we had initiated this plastic exchange about 3 years ago, and I had taken this to multiple exchanges, including London Metal Exchange, Singapore, Dubai, as well as Chicago Mercantile. All of that, if you want to know more about credits, what is a credit, a general idea of the credit is on our page, and it's called Plastic Exchange. So it talks about credit, and it tells you what is a plastic credit unit. So this is a place where you can find that information. It'll be a good idea to go through this page, and also it will talk about how the whole thing is generated in the system. And in case you want to buy credits directly as a brand owner, or you want to sell credits directly as a recycler, processor, or a cement company, you can buy from here. You can just click here and buy from here, and you just have to choose whether you want to buy it all India, or you want to buy it in, let's say, one state, let's say Rajasthan, and then you want to buy in one category, or you want to buy multiple categories, and just submit. You will find um, several opportunities to buy those credits, and this is a constantly updated information. So, for example, there is a company called BBXXX. We have hidden some information here, which is selling you category 2, and they have 2100 tons of quantity. So in case you want to buy, then you have to register with our portal, and there is also that registration is also totally free. You can just give in your details, and then you can transact on our system and make purchase also. So a very good question. Thank you very much. I would have missed this information if I had not shown you the same. Okay. The thing what it's called is Plastic Exchange. So once again, Plastic Exchange, it's in the proindia.net as one of the pages. You can always look at it. Coming back, the EPR target for year 20, I think Mitesh is writing that it was 70% average of last 2 years. What is the basis of 2023 target? I think it is very simple, straight away written, Mitesh, that the target for 2023 is 100%. It is 100% of your production or average of the last 2 years. Can you send the EPR data uploading format? I think Mr. Sanjeev Kapoor is asking that. Sanjeev, it will be good if you can send us this information on the mail, and we will send you the data uploading format. Do a brand owner need to upload plastic packaging purchase invoices? Yes, all the purchase invoices of packaging for a brand owner has to be uploaded, and they need not upload the invoices. A brand owner need not upload their invoices of sales. They can only mention that this much is my total quantum of waste generated in the state by state. Can please explain the process to after PWP transfer credit to our wallet? This is again a very nice question, Amit Chopra. Thank you very much. After the PWP transfers the credit to your wallet, you don't have to do a single thing. Your job is over. You don't have to make any more information for compliance. If it is matching the EPR target, you are good to go. There's nothing more that you need to do. Okay. What is the further process after we get EPR credits? I think same question is getting repeated. One credit is equal to how many metric tons? One credit is equal to 1 metric ton. After we purchase EPR credit, the same is rejected by the officer during the audit. What do we do? People do. Well, EPR credit once issued and transferred, then I don't think that the returning officer, the RO, or the DO can make any change to that. They have to make all the changes beforehand, which means that before authorizing the PWP to raise the credit. Okay, I think that I have. Okay, sorry, I think I missed some questions in the system. So one of the questions here. Okay, what I will do is I am going to open the webinar for question answers, and any of you who are on the webinar with your camera on, please you can. I think we can look at you as well. So no, one question that I do want to ask is how many of you are representing brand owners? Some questions from my side. Okay, I think that that about 18 people are saying that they are representing brand owners. So there are 45 people on the call. So I'm not too sure whether everyone is a brand owner, but nonetheless. So one more question I have is, any of you are having issues on EPR credits of last year as a brand owner or even as a PWP? Are you having issues from the last year in terms of entering or in terms of timeliness, or do you need any support to reach out to CPCB, solve the problem? There is some data problem. Sometimes there's an uploading problem. Sometimes it is a huge issue around the zip files not uploading or the system hanging and things like that. So I think that there definitely is a problem. My request to you, I've just published the results. My request to you is, please reach out to Ishika. She has, I'll request Ishika to put in her phone number as well as her email ID.
Yes, sir.
And yeah, and no, we'll try to solve this out for you. We have been doing that for several recyclers who are working with us, because we have to also give credit to the brands. So we probably now understand a little bit of hacks of the system, and I think that is what we can help you with. Okay, and let me quickly see how to make this audio video settings, change layout preferences, view non-video participants, turn off the video. Okay, Ishika, how do I open the webinar in terms of sound? I think that I'm.
Sir, I'm doing it. I'm doing it from here.
Okay, all right. So I think no, anyone who has questions can please ask those specific questions by speaking or by getting on a video. And I'm hoping that there are more questions around the end of the year, and how does one really avoid the environmental compensation. So please go ahead and ask your question. If you have a trouble in your setting and you're not able to, and we're not able to hear you, please put it in the chat box. Can you please ask? Okay, any specific questions here? Ishka, those three, what were those three big questions?
So the three big questions, the three main questions that people are confused about is, one of them is that, like, what as now the CPCB portal has stopped taking the data for 2020 to 2021. So
Yes.
what will happen if like two people doesn't have to complete their liability for that year, or what will happen if they doesn't complete the liability for that year?
Yeah, this is a very interesting question. So, no, we faced the same issue with one of the registrations. So we were trying to register some brand on the 30th and 31st of March, and then because we didn't have all the information and the portal also had an issue, so we registered them on the 1st of April. And when we did that, uh, the data of 2020, which is 1920 inform data, was not asked also. So it was no the last 2 years. It says no last previous 2 years. So previous 2 years became not the one which had 25% quantum or target. So the best way to deal with this is that you still finish your 25% target, because CPCB has mentioned clearly that if you are also a late registrant for some reason, if how many of you are have registered post 1st of April? If you have, can you please no just type in the chat box yes, if you have registered on 1st of April or after. We already know because on the CPCB site, the registration data is already there. So, but I do not know how many of those people are here in this webinar. But if suppose, let's say someone is, that it does not absolve that organization with the target of 2019-20, where you had to calculate the against the total plastic waste generated, sales plus scrap, one had to do 25% of that. That was the target. So that 25% target still remains. One should execute the same. Otherwise, that much will go into the EC for environmental compensation. So this is an important thing. Please do not think that delaying the EPR registration means that you are getting free from the past years of the environment of the EPR execution requirements. It is nothing like that. Yeah. Okay. What is the next question?
So the next question is that what will be the the flow for the people who are registering now, like after 1st of April? How will they cover all of their targets, and like what is the short term for covering their targets for all of the 3 years after registering as of now? And also, like in the previous question, I would like to add that if people are not completing their target for the 2020-2021, they will not be issued CTO certificate by SPCB.
Oh yeah, yeah, certainly. So just to let everyone know, I think many of you know the big brands have not encountered this so far, but the brands which are regional, or the producers which are regional, or the importers which are regional, and they're operating only in one state or maybe two states, they have only one factory or maybe two factories. Their data is residing in SPCB, uh, uh, and uh, and their execution is happening at the state level. So the SPCB is actually the first point of contact for them, even if the information is seen from on CPCB. So if I just quickly show you one thing here, let me just quickly show one part of the information. I think many of you already know this, but nonetheless. So if you see my screen here, I'm hoping it's copying. Yeah, so this is a screen everybody knows, right? The plastics screen. So now in that there is CPCB. Under CPCB, you have brand owners and producers and importers, and they have categories and they have targets. So that these brand owners are national brand owners in the sense that they are operating in two states or more, and they have factories in two states or more. But there is another tab called SPCB and PCC. So in that, you also have brand owners, you also have producers, you also have importers. So so these are the ones which are operating in one state or maybe two. Uh, in any case, it's written here also: producer with plant less than 3 states, or importer and brand operating in less than 3 states. So basically, anything with two or lower is here. So if you are here again, you have a certain responsibility. Your information is first going to the state, but that doesn't mean that in the CPCB case your information is not going to state. In the case of CPCB also, if your information is going to the state, and as Rishika mentioned, as Ishka mentioned, that each of these producers, or if you are a brand owner and you also have a manufacturing factory facility, you have a requirement of CTO, consent to operate. So in the consent to operate form, now the plastic waste has become a standard part of it. Are you certified under the plastic waste producer? So this is important. Please remember that in both the cases, whether you are visible in CPCB or you're visible in SPCB, you still have that responsibility. I would just request if no, the people who are on the call, can they mute their line, or maybe I can mute them. But just to show you this information, okay? Ishka, what is the next question?
So we have a question from Mr. Kunal Sankla. He's asking that he has not uploaded last financial year GST invoices or purchase data on EPR portal. So what do they have to do now?
Oh, is he a producer or
So he's a
importer
brand
or
owner, as a brand owner.
not uploaded the invoices?
Yes, sir, for the purchase of last year GST invoices.
Okay, so at the time of registration, if the brand had registered earlier than maybe 2 months ago, then these requirements were not there. People were not required to fill in invoice-wise data of their procurement, plastic procurement, which has now become mandatory. So at this point in time, I don't think it is required. But in the case of annual submission, I'm assuming that this information is asked from the brand owners. So can the person actually open the mic and tell if the same thing is, if I'm saying is correct?
Hello.
Yes, Mr. Kunal.
Yes, sir. I think you are saying correct. We have registered in early 20s, I think August 2022. At that time, there was no requirement. But then in December 2022, the portal has said that you have to upload, portal not, the notice that came that you have to upload GST invoices.
Yes. So that is what you will have to require at the time of annual filing. It will be required.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mr. Rajendran Negi, you have a question. I think you have raised your hand. Would you like to speak about it? Mr. Negi? Okay. Is there anybody else who has a question?
So we also have a question from Mr. Ellen Rathor. He's asking that data to be uploaded by brand owners on the CPCB portal during registration and for compliance. Like what he's asking, if is the sales data should be state-wise?
Sorry, Mr. Rathor is representing a brand owner?
Yes, sir. So it is not given here, like in his question. Is Mr. Rathor available on the call?
Yes, Mr. Rathor, can you speak about your question? I think we've had a VC with Mr. Rathor before.
Hello.
Yes, Mr. Rathor.
Yeah. So our question precisely you have answered just when you were answering the other person right now. So while making a registration in June 2022, we had entered state-wise purchase data of registered and non-registered producers. Right?
Okay.
We are brand owners, and we were not required to enter invoice-wise details of the purchase that we had made from registered and non-registered, which in the later notification has asked to do that. But as mentioned by yourself, we have to do since it was not required during registration, it would be asked during the annual return filing.
Yes.
Or is it required to do the same before annual return filing? Because the notification released on 22nd Feb 2023 gave a 15-day period wherein all these data had to be entered invoice-wise by the brand.
You have to see on your portal whether it allows you to start entering that information. If it does allow you, you can start entering now only. Why to wait till the 2 months from now?
Correct. And as I believe, if the brand just a requirement of registering of a brand owner on a SPCB or a CPCB portal, as you were explaining some time back, it also had to do with the number of states the brand owner is operating, other than the fact the number of plants and it being micro or MSME. So there were those criteria as well, right? If a brand owner,
so MSME criteria is basically a micro and small industry. Micro and small brands need not have any liability. They will not have any liability. So they will not register also. That is fine. Micro and small, not micro, small and medium. Medium छोड़ दीजिए. MS, micro and small. As a brand, you will not have any liability because that freedom has been given by the government.
Yeah.
Now, as a brand owner or as a producer, if you're operating in 3 states or more, you have to register under CPCB. But even if you register under SPCB, all of that information is in the same portal at one place only. SPCB is also using the same portal. So let's say that if the DO has to go.
Yes.
even that portal, the portal is common portal, because SPCB is basically the hands and legs of CPCB.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Any other question? Anyone has any other question? Okay. All right. So I think with that we will stop here. Ishika, you have any other question in chat? I think we have tried to answer most of the questions here, but please send the questions to us also. And also, if you need any help in CPCB and your EC, and also if you need any help in your last minute credits, we have the credits available of the last year also. So if you, in case you want to take the credit of the last year, we have the credits available for you. Okay. So with that, thank you very much. Thank you, Ishika, and thank you, team. Have a great day.
Thank you, sir.